Hi, welcome to now day 31 of me telling you the craziest story that you're ever going to hear of the real things that have been happening to me, my friends, and my family. I am an expert in DMT. I learned how to what I'm calling unlock it. That has caused a permanent shift in our way we interact with consciousness. This is happening to me and multiple people in my friend group and family. Um, it has been insane. So I've been telling this story over a 40-day water only fast. Today is day 31. I am down over 40 pounds. Um, I'm feeling great. I've gotten through the hard parts. Feeling good. This is actually getting a lot easier at this point. I'm looking forward to it being over. I don't think anybody's looking forward to it being over more than my wife. I think I owe her a bunch of date nights as soon as this is over. But I want to talk today about the DMT laser experiment. And I've got a soft spot for that one because I've done it. I know Danny. Danny and I've talked many times. Just a wonderful guy, the guy that made the discovery. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a guy named Danny Goller discovered that if you shine a diffracted laser lens or diffracted laser beam on anything when you under the influence of DMT, when you adjust your eyes to look at it, you can start to see a matrix style code that runs through everything, and it looks like the matrix. I get why anybody would obviously make the assumption that it's influenced by the matrix too much to have been anything other than that. That this can't be real. It is just this hallucination. Is just completely wrong. Absolutely wrong. I get why you'd feel that way, but you're way wrong. This is 100% repeatable for yourself, but for other people. Happens every time people see the exact same thing. That is not a hallucination. That was not mass hysteria. That is something that is repeatable and real. And in science, we look into that. The symbols that you see look like Japanese katakana. They are very small and they move. They look strikingly like Japanese katakana, and actually to the point where it's probably setting it back from being validated because it looks like katakana and looks like something that is already exists. There are other things that you see though that Danny may talk about this stuff. He puts a lot of content, so I'm not sure. These are things that I've learned from knowing him that I find significant that I just want to kind of highlight. So most of the time, you're going to use a red laser beam, and you'll get the characters that are in it. But when you use different colored frequencies of laser, greens will have arrows and stuff that are added into it. So it'd be the same code or whatever you want to call it, same characters. And then you're going to have additional information based on the frequency. The thought is that if you could find lasers aren't made this way, but if you could find a laser that had an adjustable frequency or wavelength on a rheostat, you would be able to dial in a frequency. There might be like a perfect frequency to be able to see significantly more. And so a diffracted lens you're putting that single laser beam through a grate and it's splitting the beam out. That has to be diffracted for it to work, which I find interesting. Like you couldn't just have like a giant laser beam and see more. It has to be diffracted. I would think that there's a possibility to be able to have enough lasers in a space to have the diffraction dense enough to be able to actually just make that whole room one giant code. That would be just so cool to stand in. But I think that might be possible. We've had conversations about um, is the code static? Is it consistent? But they're so small, it's hard to validate. But what I have an intuition on is how you can have plants that have a positive affirmation or a negative affirmation. They grow differently. A positive affirmation, they grow significantly more. I wonder if the code would look different if under plants under those two different conditions, since you could modify its structure somehow or how it grows. I don't know. It was just a thought. what else with Danny? So when you see this, if you ever get a chance to see this in person, you don't quite know what you're looking at when you see it, but you know it's significant. For it's just a feeling. It almost feels like you've peeled back the curtain and you're looking at something that you're not supposed to see. Um, it is fascinating though. Like you could just sit and stare at it for hours. But also, what happens is it manifests outside of just the laser beam too. It just the laser beam seems to enhance the ability to perceive this. Well, obviously, it would be impossible without it. But you'll start to see sacred geometry that shows up too. If you haven't ever heard about those, like the icosahedrons, dodecahedrons, those kind of things. There's a correlation that runs through a lot of this stuff with sacred geometry. And it even runs through some of the ancient stuff that they've been showing us. Because if you get the Rosicrucians in sacred geometry, meditation is very important to them. And since all of this has happened, I've been doing some of that, and it's the energy it generates in your chakras is intense. There is something to that. This is all just continuing to just connect over and over again. But I really struggle with the community, the DMT community's, I guess, rejection of what happens, what Danny Goler's finding. That's going to end up just being one of those things like the I told you so moments for Danny. You're getting a lot of negative feedback from people who haven't even done it. Even scientists in this field that people value their opinion on want to give their opinion without even doing it themselves. I get that there's some reasoning most likely behind that, just from a scientific perspective. But for the Reddit community to have a rule that no laser talk is setting that group back. What Danny has done is significant. He is working so hard and is so focused, and he's building teams. Like he is attacking this like a scientist can. I get it. It's hard to keep the woo and the hyperbole out of it because it's such a crazy thing. But was instrumental on my journey. And being able to get to where we are today. We're forever grateful for Danny. I hope to call him a friend for a long time. Not that long ago, my colleague and we did go out in LA and film for that. I hope we're making the final cut. It'll be fun to see how that ends up playing out. But one interesting thing too with it, if you run the laser beam through a rotating electromagnet, it causes the code to scramble when it hits the wall, and we don't know why. But kind of it's almost exactly similar to what is happening to us. Danny's being guided to that discovery, and we were guided to Danny. We seem to have crossed paths for a reason on this crazy journey. There's a lot of correlation and overlap. And it was, like I said, instrumental in our research and our understanding of how all of this works. And I hope that we do a good job of taking what we learned from his project and just running with it. This is a group effort. We're not trying to beat anybody. We're not trying to be better than anybody. This is one of those things. This is information for the world. It's life-changing stuff. And for the people who have seen these kind of things, you just understand it. If you've been a part of it. This is going to be a paradigm shift. This is not a traditional psychedelic. Things changed for Danny the moment the being showed him how to play something on the guitar, because it showed Danny something tangible that he could use that was real, and it let him know it was real, and that's when it shifts. It's very important. But hope you found this interesting. The laser experiment is going to be a big deal. We're going to take it from there. So keep joining me. I appreciate you following along. I'll see you tomorrow.